I don't have the hardware to do it, and I don't have the patience to do it. So it matters. It's very interesting. Yes, sir.
Have you tried tungsten film?
Excuse me?
Have you tried tungsten film?
No, because my cameras don't feed film. It makes it very difficult to swap out the imaging element on my digital cameras. I would love to do that. It would be really cool. I don't shoot film at this point, mostly due to cost. Okay. If you are deeply interested in dealing with photography and understanding the physics and the metrics and how this works, I highly recommend a study about color temperature. I think everybody's head would explode. Mine usually does when I go into that detail, so I'm just going to skip it and move on. Okay. Tends to wash out an image, whereas that is to say that all of a sudden something that looked like it had depth, it had fields, it had you could see the shapes. All of a sudden it looks like somebody hit them with a steamroller. This results in a lot of people going, wow, it looks so much better when I was there, when staring at their photos. Okay, first piece of advice, just don't use your flash, turn it off. Don't let it work. It will make you happier. Okay, so you don't have a choice. You've decided for whatever reason that you're going to use flash because the room is dark. Yes, this example here, this room is dark. You don't notice it. Your eyes are incredible tools. They are capable of understanding things and doing things with lighting environments that I can only hope to replicate in a camera someday. I've been shooting flash all day. I've been shooting flash all day because it's dark in here, and I want to actually have photos at the end of this particular event. Low light, you use the flash. You're going to get a picture. It'll be better than a blank frame or a blurred mess. Okay. Next situation, you want to see the detail in a subject and you don't really care if it was an accurate reflection of what you were seeing in the room at the time. Often when I'm working on circuit boards and I want to get a picture of the circuit board so that other people can see what point or what part I'm pointing at and saying, look, I think this one blew up, I'll go use the flash. I'm not worried about whether it's an accurate reflection of what my workbench was looking like at that moment. I want people to be able to read the serial number off the chip. Social cue. Surprisingly and shockingly to me, using the flash as a social cue has been more helpful in more situations than I can count. People can't tell when you've taken a picture, particularly with modern cameras, which have an electronic shutter, so there's no actual click. So it's just, and you walk away and people go, did you take a picture? They don't know. A flash firing is a universal signal that somebody took a picture. It works. If it works and I'll accept it, I'll use it. Makes life easier for me. If you're going to use flash photography, experiment with it. Understand what your flash is going to do. Understand how your flash is going to work. Realizing that I was here and my task here as Nauticon, I got handed this, was take photos of the event because we never have enough after it's over. So I went down the road of actually investing in an external flash, which is this large contraption that's been already strapped to the large camera. It is a grand improvement over the flash that is in my camera. It has made all the difference today and will make all the difference tomorrow. If you're going to use flash photography, get an external flash and learn how to use it for indirect lighting. Okay. I post a lot of photos online. Some of my friends even look at them and comment on them. It's sort of fun. It's amusing. People occasionally ask me, how did I get that photo? There is one question I have to ask everybody in this room. Where is your camera right now? Okay, I have 2 people who actually indicate that they have their cameras with them. Okay, three. Missed one. Sorry, sir, you're being covered by the light. I can't see a thing that you're doing back there. Okay, the first rule of getting a photo is having a camera. dead serious. If you don't have a camera, you aren't going to get the picture. And frankly, the best thing I've ever come up with for getting pictures was having my camera in the car with me when the picture happened. You run across good photos all the time. If you wander around with the mindset that, yeah, I can take a photo of this, what would be good? And you look at it and you go, that's a great photo. And you go pick up your camera and you go take the photo right there. If your camera is 5 minutes away, that picture's gone. If your camera is sitting in a bag in your home, half an hour away, 45 minutes through traffic, there's no picture. There's no chance of getting that picture. And the follow-ups are, did you download the photos and clear your memory card? Are you out of space on your memory card? Is your battery charged and ready to go? The best thing I've come up with is leaving the camera, or learning to carry the camera with you everywhere. For me, well, things big, heavy, obnoxious, so I forced myself to carry it every day for 1.5 years. Now, I know where my camera is, I know what state it's in, I know it can work, and when a picture happens, I go take the picture because I have it all there. The startup time for going and getting your camera doesn't work unless you're doing studio photography. And so far, I don't have many willing victims to stand in a studio and let me take pictures of them. Don't know why. Okay, next stage. Bits are cheap. Use lots. They're fully recyclable. The point of this is so many people fail to use the fact that we're on, oh, okay, back up. This is digital only. So many people fail to utilize the fact that if you take a bad picture, there's a button marked delete. So taking another picture is almost a zero-cost event. I've seen people wander in with a digital camera to go get a picture of item X, walk up, take one picture of it, and walk away. And come back an hour later, walk up, take another picture of it, and walk away. Because the first one didn't work for them. Bits are cheap. They're free. They're fully recyclable. You can go get more. They're easy. Right off the bat, go in, shoot photos. Lots of photos. Walk around whatever you're taking a picture of. Get another shot of it. You might find a corner of it you hadn't missed. If you're running a digital camera, look at the display. Huh, that photo sucked. Go get another shot, do it again. Repeat ad nauseum until you are so tired of it or the police are called because you're loitering. Just go. The worst case scenario is you'll have to delete a lot of photos. Best case scenario is you get 2 or 3 good ones out of the deal. Post-processing, filter later. Big deal. Okay, so I'm quickly approaching the end of my talk, which means I'm either going extremely fast or extremely slow because okay, I have gone through 40 minutes of my talk so far. This is shockingly timed accurately. Totally shocked. This is a photo I took about 18 months ago, and I got a lot of comments on it, and a lot of people liked it. Your opinions may vary. I sure hope they do, because if you all have the same opinion, I'm in deep trouble, and I have not sufficiently drank enough Kool-Aid. People ask how I got that picture. This picture is from my drive home at night. I go by a picture that looks like this about 2 days a month. The trick is, my camera was in my car that day. It was sitting in the passenger seat. It had a lens on it. It was ready to go. I pulled over to the side of the road and started taking pictures. This was one of them I got. But I also got all of those. There are a lot of pictures there, and I think it scrolled off the side of the screen on me. I shot over 25 pictures to pull that one out. And if you look through them, I'm using exposure bracketing. So the first picture on the left is horribly overexposed. Next picture is what it's considered 0. The next one is underexposed. I moved 6 foot, and I did it again. Parked at the side of the road for 10 minutes. And you go through afterwards, and you find the ones that work. And what I ended up with was that one. But it didn't look like that when I was taking the picture. The eye has a much wider dynamic range. I was actually seeing the field stretched out before me. Can't see it in the photo because dynamic range of the camera doesn't allow it. What was pointed out was, wow, that sky is really beautiful, but what's with all the black space underneath? And I said, well, that was the picture I shot. But you have a point. Cropping it would make it better. So that's where I ended up with. This is how you do it. It's a lot of time, a lot of luck. And, okay, I'm an amateur. My only qualification for talking about this is the fact that I've been running around with a camera for 3 years shooting photos and occasionally getting one that looks really good. My hit rate on good photos is about 1 out of 30. You shoot 30 photos, one of them you'll like. Accept it, acknowledge it, move on. Shoot a lot of photos to make up for it. Okay, that's the end of my talk. I'm now up to the open questions. If you have any, shoot. I will either tell you I don't know, make up answers, or give you something useful. Go for it.
I know, but maybe not everybody else in the room knows. Dynamic range.
Sorry. What did I say about that? I work in the tech field. I pick up jargon without trying. Dynamic range is a way of indicating how much you can capture of bright versus dark. So if you can understand that, I'm going to start throwing arbitrary numbers at this because it's easier for me to describe it this way. If whatever your capturing device can understand that something is brightness level 6, 7, or 8, if the thing that you're trying to capture is actually brightness levels 3 through 10, you're only going to get a very tiny section in there of the total range of brightness of the image. So everything down here is going to be dark, and everything up here is going to be horribly bright. It's going to be white, and you'll just get that little section in the middle. The eye has a very wide dynamic range. Film has a wide dynamic range. Digital cameras have a narrower one, and you have to work around that failure. And that's how I got to the... I saw a field at the bottom of that. I could see it. Camera can't. Smaller dynamic range.
That's another difference between the ISO rating of film versus the ISO rating of digital.
They both are captured. Okay, the statement was that's the difference between the ISO rating of film and the ISO rating of digital. My understanding of ISO, which I admit and acknowledge, my only qualification is I've been running around with a camera. The ISO rating is an indication of how sensitive it is to light. This doesn't talk about dynamic range directly. There's a side channel of information stuffed in there that indicates, yes, low ISO film tends to have a wider dynamic range, but it's not the immediate number that's being discussed. Lots of little things fall on the side, and they just get tacked on to the same meeting because they made sense at the time and the technology moves out from underneath of it, and we're stuck with jargon that doesn't make any sense. Welcome to the tech field. Yes, sir?
How much manipulation do you find yourself doing with Photoshop?
Essentially zero. I made a promise to myself a long time ago that my goal was not to manipulate photos into being the image that I wanted them to be, and rather to try and make the photo as close to what I wanted it to be in the first place. What I do with software, the limit of what I go up against is cropping. I typically don't even crop. I have an automated chunk of software I've written which loads my photos, resizes them, tilts them appropriately. So my camera has this neat trick which has a rotation sensor. It knows which way is up, records that inside the image, and my rotation software reads that and turns the appropriate side up, scales it, and I stop there 90% of the time. Gentleman in the green shirt in the back.
I like wide-angle photos.
Mm-hmm.
So what would be the best way to do that? Like a wide-angle lens or just a crop?
Are you trying to capture, okay, wide-angle photos? Best way to do it, wide-angle lens. Here's the bad news. If you are running with digital SLRs, almost all of them use smaller sized image sensors, which results in the famous for Canon series cameras, 1.6